Stop! There's two of them.
You have everything of a great conspiracy. How did I get?
Yeah, it's kind of a creepy place, you know, because there's no light at all.
A lot of experiments out there.
Plutonium, nuclear weapon.
Nuclear destruction. They're just balls of light. There's a ghost now.
Broadcasting live on the Fringe FM and on YouTube, just outside the Napa Valley wine country, through the mystical Sonoma Mountains. This is Beyond the Strange. Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Thank you all for being here tonight. It is Sunday, June 7th, 2020, the year of our Lord. Numbers to call in tonight after the phone lines are open is 1-800-588-0335. Again, that's 1-800-588-0335 when the phone lines are open. And we have a fantastic show and guests for you tonight. Tonight we have with us the one and only Tim Ray of United Intentions. And we're going to get Tim here on the show here in a little bit. But first, got to do all the good stuff. You can always follow us on Twitter at Strange Days 2015. Hashtag #IsBeyonders. Don't forget, we are in the chat, Strange Chat, as a matter of fact, on the Beyond the Strange official Discord channel. And I do not apologize, everyone that's in Discord right now. I do not have the stream on right now. That is my bad. I'll fix that for you guys in just a second. But we are live on the Fringe FM and we are live on the YouTube channel. So you can take your pick until I stream in the Discord chat. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that right now because people are waiting. And let's go there. Bam. We are connected. So you guys are good to go on there. And you should be good to go. There we go. All right. You are in the Discord chat. You can hear it all. Everyone's on the Fringe FM chat. I see Amandala, Mother of 12 Dragons. The Night Stalker. What's up, brother? Rivers. Joe Roop. What's up, bro? He's in there too. Everyone's all hanging in there. We got two places you can go to. You can go to the Fringe FM official in the main hall Discord chat, or you can go to the Beyond the Strange official Strange chat, and Morticia Adams is hanging out, listening on the stream. So there you go, people. All right. Looking good. Everything's looking good there. So yeah, it's been a while. I've kind of been away a little bit, and I appreciate you guys' patience with me. It's been chaotic, not only in the world, but in the world of Dave Cruz. It's been pretty crazy. I was telling Tim a little bit about that earlier before the show, and yeah, it's been pretty nuts. So I appreciate all you guys hanging in there with me, and there's a lot more to follow. I got some more announcements, but really quick, I just want to say thank you again to everyone who sent messages and emails and text me and all that stuff. It's all good, everybody. I'm still here, and I love you all. Love you all in the YouTube chat, by the way. Good to see you all. Make sure you're in the live chat. Russ Bailey, always there. My brother from another mother. Sojourno Truth. Gosh, we got so many people in the chats. I'm really, really happy to see that. But okay, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're live on YouTube. And I will have some video up here in a second. So remember, keep checking Beyond the Strange website for future updates, merchandise, giveaways, prizes. I do have a book from Kevin Killen, Ghost and Me, to give away. And we'll figure out how to do that. But if you haven't heard Kevin Killen, he was on the show just recently. Great interview. Lots and lots of good stuff about the paranormal and ghost and all kinds of good goodies, haunted houses. Kevin Killen. I got a great book for y'all. And, send me an email. Let's do it that way. So we'll do a drawing. Send me an email. Dave@beyondthestrange.com. That's Dave@beyondthestrange.com. And we'll do that way for that. Okay. So let's try that out. Okay, let's get to the shoe without further ado. Tim Ray is an award-winning, international paradigm-shifting, visionary, speaker, and multi-platform media personality. As a savvy business owner and serial entrepreneur, Tim started his first business with only one employee, himself, and turned it into a business that now employs over 200 and is making millions. He now owns several businesses and has devoted his time to help the world with his nonprofit, the United Intentions Foundation. Tim Ray also goes by the Conscious Voice of the South on his hit media platform, United Intentions Media Network, a conscious media network that houses over 12 hosts in the US and UK and has been viewed over 2 million times. Tim's passion for consciousness spreads far and wide. With his children's education program, the Imagine If program, and his conscious media network. Tim's mission is to spread positivity all while waking people up to the power of their intentions. You can find more information on uimedia.org. And please, everyone, help me welcome Tim Ray. Tim Ray, thank you very much for being on the show tonight, my friend.
Dave Cruz, thank you, brother, man. I really appreciate not only that, what you mentioned, but also everything you're doing. Right now, it's not easy to be going on air because so many people are waiting to hear, wisdom and information from your mouth and your mind, especially in these crazy times when most people are being lied to on a worldwide level. And when you can find a local person and somebody who has a network like you guys have a big network out in your area and all around the country, around the world, reaching people. And when you have that, when you could actually key into like that, that's true because we've been given so many lies and deceptions. It's peacefulness, it's hope. It's something that where people think really realize like, wow, I have something I can believe in a time when it's chaos. And it's been chaos these last 3 months, more so than ever before. So thank you for that. Thank you for being that voice, Dave.
I appreciate that, Tim. And here's the thing. I didn't want to come back on the air until I knew that there was something positive I had to tell you. The world, not just you, but, the listeners, everyone. And yeah, it's I'm not going to lie to you, it's been pretty hard, because we can go down the list. Like I said, there was COVID, then you got George Floyd, then you have all the rioting going on. It's just one thing after another, and it's just been a lot of negative loosh, if you will.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty happy archons out there. That's all I could tell you. But you've been doing this for a while, and the power of positivity. That's why I call you the positivity guru, and I am so happy that you are on tonight, because you're what I need tonight as well. I need to hear from you, my friend, and so does the audience. The fringe listeners need to listen to you. Beyonders need to listen to you. And so I'm sure we have a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you have a lot to offer. So thank you again.
Well, I'll give you a spoiler alert real quick right in the beginning.
Sure.
Just to give everybody a little bit of hope and knowing where we're going to get into, especially if we get deep into conspiracy and what's going on beyond our reality. Is the spoiler alert is everything that's happened and is happening right now and will be happening over the next months, years, what it may be, is all divine. It's all divinity at work, even though on the surface it seems not only chaos but painful, ugly, hurt, pain, all the above, all those attributes that you hate to admit that people have within themselves comes to the surface. That is the surface. Below that, underneath that, the subfuge of that, below even that, is divinity, and this is God's plan. This is the higher source's plan of us, of ourselves, waking up to what we really are: spiritual, powerful, mighty beings. So there you go. That's a spoiler alert. So now, what other negativity you want to talk about right now?
I don't want to talk about negativity right now.
Well, honestly, it's reality right now.
Well, tonight it's really about you, and this is your first official guest spot, if you will, on Beyond the Strange, and so I want the listeners and the audience to know more about you. What got you all into this? I mean, what was your life like? Bringing up young Tim Ray.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, I'll start when I was a late teen, and that's probably when I started waking up to these things. And I'll jump ahead then pretty quickly to
sure.
What we're going through now. The last 3 months, I went through about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And so, as a teen, though, I was always curious. I was always a curious cat. I was always open-minded. Always wanted to learn about different things. And I was raised Catholic from the Northeast, and I didn't really know anything different. It wasn't a very practicing Catholic. Just kind of went through the church once when I had to with my mom or whoever else. But I went to college, and I took a world religion course. I was like, whoa, what's all this stuff? There's other religions. Christianity's not the only religion. What's going on here? So it just opened you up to a whole new world of thinking and whole different belief systems of religions, But then I started moving away from that to try to learn what I could. And I got into the metaphysical aspect of the world, of life. And also the pragmatic part, the psychological part, from people like Dale Carnegie, and a whole bunch of different other people who really got involved in some of the health and mental health of life, which led me to getting a degree in psychology and management in college. But the point where I really connected the dots then was, wow, I learned, this is going to sound a little crazy, but I learned through this entity, supposedly. His name was Lazarus, and somebody channeled him. And he was talking about 3 things of how you create your reality. And but back then they used imagination, your desire, and then your desire, your imagination, then your expectancy. Those 3 tools, when they come together, you could start connecting what happens. And if we all slow down enough, and this is where I think a lot of people don't believe in the understanding of how we create our reality, co-create a reality. I do believe we co-create on a collective level, that some things we don't have control over, like what we're experiencing right now. I don't think anybody of us right now would want to see what happened to Floyd, or would want to see what happened with the COVID-19. But on a collective level, it's there, manipulated by a handful of folks, but it's there. But on an individual level, we do have power to create our reality and change our perception. We change what we experience, which affects the collective in many ways. So I learned how to use those three principles at a young age to try to connect dots, have my thoughts first, my feelings first, and then see what happens next. And it was amazing when I had the revelation of what I wanted to do with my business. I didn't know what I wanted to do with work-wise. I just graduated college, had no idea. I was living in Florida, and I was like, well, I want a challenging management position. I want to wear a business suit. I want to be a businessman, and had all these things. And I was jogging around my neighborhood down there at the time, and I was matching this. I was using my imagination, and I was using my desire. I was really wanting it. And I got to the point where I was expecting it. I'm like, I believe this could happen. And then a little while later, ample of months later, I get this call where I have a chance to go up to Georgia and experience the nursing home administrator opportunities. And that set off 30 years in the career of working in nursing homes and home health care. Led me starting my own business, my called Golden Home Service, private home care business. And, has led me to where I was able to step down from running it and do what I'm doing now by starting this foundation. So I connected that when I was younger, and I realized that. But what happened over those 30 years? I got lost, though, Dave. I got lost in the day-to-day of the challenges of the corporate ladder, of getting married, having kids, getting the house, and the whole works. And I didn't so much. I always knew that I created my reality, or at least co-created my reality, but I never really put it to the test, or really put it to practice on a daily basis. When I remembered it, I would, because like I said, I got lost down the road. And so I ended up starting the United Intentions Foundation back in 2009, after I basically had what we're going through now, pretty much a depressing breakdown of, I was caught up into watching the news. Trust me, the news 10 years ago was just as negative as it is today, right? So on down the line.
Oh, it's always been like that,
yeah. Right? And so I got up watching it, and I was listening to, and then I got into the metaphysical. I got into the conspiratory stuff, the what's really going on with the New World Order and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, and what's going on with the space programs, and what's David Icke talking about with these reptilians. And so I looked at all these different aspects. I was totally open-minded. I didn't really close down to anything. I didn't always believe everything. I was very skeptical, and I would vet it out, but I was very open to it. And I'm like, wow, this is a crazy world. We're in this Luciferian cabal world of, what purpose do we have here? And I'm creating other people's intention every time I watch the news, telling me I need to be worried about this, worried about that.
Yeah.
So I got to the point where I was either going to go insane, right, and build a bunker and go live down in a bunker at some point when, I don't know, you can't curse on this show or not, but when things hit the fan,
it'd be preferably not to.
I was like. I normally don't on our show, but when things hit the fan, what was I going to do? I was going to go down to my bunker, whatever it may be, or I was going to get out and do something about it and start speaking my voice. And hence the idea of the solution to all this, all the chaos going on, or everything from that incorporates the ETs, that incorporates the metaphysicals, that incorporates the paranormal, that incorporates the New World Order gang, that incorporates our day-to-day people here, who are trying to make a difference, freedom fighters, incorporates American citizens of the world. All of that was the solution out of that was, if we could learn to unite our intentions, our thoughts are real things, right? And the actual physical manifestation, it's like the navigator in this three-dimensional world that we use. It's our five senses, or at least our sensory output that we learn to use through that process. And that drops the wave to the matter, right? Creates that. Is if we can unite our intentions for positive, for good, for an outcome of what we want to experience, then we could shift anything. It doesn't matter what's thrown at us. It doesn't matter what's going on right now. So I had that revelation back then, and I decided for the last 10 years, I started a foundation, and it grew into the the UI Media Network. We wanted to speak one to many, and there we are. To date, we're now talking all the time about what's going on with the COVID, interviewing people who are not allowed to be on the internet, like Judy Mikovits. She's not allowed to be on there. They won't let her. They're censoring her, and they're censoring anybody else who has her on there. We had, Dale Bigtree, a whole bunch of different folks who we have come through that we've been working with over the years to try to get the truth out of what's leading to this point of where we're going towards, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I think it's all connected. I think it's all connected, Dave. And I don't think you need to we're creating our reality. We're uniting our intentions right now collectively, but we're uniting our intentions collectively in fear. That's what's happening. We are so fear-based. Every time you see somebody wearing a mask at a store, they are in full fear gear. And so is the little kid that's dragging around the 5-year-old with the mask on as well. And it's perpetuating that. And that's where we are. We're uniting our intentions in fear, but we need to be doing just the opposite. And then the house of cards falls.
Well, we're definitely going to get into a lot of what's happening today. And my intentions for tonight was to, find out more about you and definitely find out some of the techniques, some of the practices that you do in order to stay sane, for this, not to, because I mean, even you, Tim, I know it has to get to you, I can hear it in your voice. And
absolutely.
But that I'm glad that we were able to get a little bit of background. When did you finally realize that we were in a matrix? How long did it take you after you had your spiritual awakening, if you will?
It was probably back in the 90s. I probably started to hit me. I remember going to different groups of channels and learning more about what's going on and how things work. The New World Order aspect, the Luciferian Cabal piece of it started gradually coming in place after I started watching probably in the late 80s and early 90s with David Icke and what he was talking about. And then, of course, it just grew. And then you hear about the WikiLeaks and then Snowden and then everything later on, it pops up and you hear all the details. So I always kind of knew the skeleton, but I never had the meat on there until every year goes by, I'd add another organ and then another muscle. And then I'm starting to look at it, I can start seeing what this person looks like, and so it was a gradual process, but I always knew this matrix skeleton piece of it. And I always knew that the way through this is we're going to have to go through it, but we're going to have to learn to trust and understand that we're going to have to rely on each other. We're going to unite our intentions with each other. And it's no different than prayer. United prayer to me is the same concept. You're praying, but here you're uniting your intentions because there's an energetic exponential effect when two more people come together in a united intention or in prayer, whatever it may be. But to put it to practice and use, I think it's something that's going to be amazing because you can't see how it works directly, but you see the effects and the outcomes of how it works for the most part. And that to me, I find always fascinating when we're actually connecting the dots. When you take the time to slow down and in the present moment, you connect what you're thinking generally to then what happens the next day. And you're like, wow, that could be related to what I was thinking just a minute ago, negative or positive, right?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
And, I mean, as I've been doing this program and I've learned, met, right on. He approves.
That's Georgia.
Awesome. I've learned that, all I've known my life, a little bit about me, up until a point, I've always believed in religion. And, religion to me was spirituality. Of course, they're not the same. But at the time they were. And I knew that there was things that, there was traditions, there was rituals, all kinds of stuff like that. And, prayer is one of them. Prayer is one of them. Meditation, not meditation like, yoga or anything like that. But I was never Catholic, by the way. I was always Protestant. And,
no guilt. That's good.
Well, it's funny. It's like, for some reason, I was actually, more in a Pentecostal, apostolic, really Bible thumper type of, religion. And, my family didn't play around when it came to that. so I broke away. I broke away from that really early. But I mean, but it, it's still in here, and a lot of those things. So the basic thing is, yes, there. To me today, there's a Luciferian agenda. It has a lot to do with satanic or evil forces, if you will, that's going on right now. I relate it all to conspiracy theory, of course, but I have also learned a lot about meditation. I've learned a lot about energy healing. There's a lot that I've learned that I didn't know about, and I think it's important that people need, they need to know there's solutions out there, because as I mentioned to you, I'll put it out there. My daughter's going through it, right? My wife is going through it. I'm going through it. We've been stuck in.
My two boys are going through it. Yeah.
And you see it on Facebook. There's people taking their lives. Children are taking their lives. They haven't even lived yet, and they think that this is it. That there's nothing else after this. And so I feel that we really need to change it somehow. And hopefully we can, get to some of those solutions tonight. We got about 2 minutes to the first break, Tim. Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick here is that it is, and I think a lot of people right now are looking for this magic pill to stop it, and the last thing I would recommend anybody do is to get onto pills, because that's one of the reasons why we're in this mess in the first place, is another distraction. And I think when we come back from break, Dave, we could talk about some solutions on there, but I can tell you this from my perspective is what we call conscious media is awareness media, is that we got to be willing to not go down this denial-based positive thinking, to truly look at what's really going on, look up, see the chemtrails, think about what that means, aerosol spraying, look around what's going on with the politicians when they're lying to you, listen to the deep state psyop stuff they're talking about and start investigating it. We're going to have to become very aware. At the same time, keep in line our spiritual beliefs of who we are and how powerful we are in creating our reality. It's a two-hand prong. There's a pragmatic 3D experience, and then there's that 5D experience of that we're spiritual beings. So they have to exist together, I believe, to get through this, and we're going to have to go through it to get out of it. So I'll leave you on that before the break.
Awesome. I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's a definitely good start to go into this break. And we're going to get deep, guys. Just letting you know. You think that you think we've gotten deep so far? This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is Dave Cruz. I am speaking with Tim Ray of United Intentions, and you're listening to Beyond the Strange right here on the Fringe FM. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
This is the Rogie Report news on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie. The U.S. Navy recently patented a new method for creating 3D images in mid-air using plasma lasers. Plasma-based anti-missile technology would use high-intensity lasers built into the rear of an aircraft to generate a plasma filament. This plasma filament would in turn generate an infrared signature enough to lure an enemy missile off course. The part of this technology that raises eyebrows is the use of a laser-induced plasma filament to create floating images in the air. According to the patent document, it is possible to generate a 2 or 3D volumetric image in space. In one potential embodiment, a laser system would be mounted to the back of an air vehicle, could be rastered using optics and mirrors to generate a large ghost image in space. The technology behind the patent is a way to defend aircraft from incoming missiles. As an explanation for the UFO sightings reported by the Navy, it doesn't seem likely. New evidence shows that a giant meteor impact formed parts of the moon's crust. A group of international scientists led by the Royal Ontario Museum has discovered that a formation of ancient rocks on the moon may be directly linked to a large-scale meteorite impact. Scientists conducted research on a rock collected by NASA's astronauts during the 1972 Apollo 17 mission to the moon. They found it contains evidence that it formed at an incredibly high temperature that can only be achieved by the melting of the outer layer of a planet in a large impact event. In the rock, researchers discovered the former presence of cubic zirconia, a mineral often used as a substitute for diamonds. The new research suggests that large impacts over 4 billion years ago produced the complex range of rocks seen on the surface of the moon today. Do they want to mine the moon for cubic zirconia? No way, Jose Canseco. Last month, the former Oakland A's baseball player tweeted about Bigfoot and COVID. This month, he tweeted about his own theory on dream control. First lesson in dream control. Ask yourself, am I dreaming as much as possible? Once you ask that question while you're dreaming, you'll know what to do. Limitless power in dream control, a gate to another life. Maybe Jose's into fringe topics, it sounds like. This is the Rogie Report News on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie.
Hey there, this is Ryan Gable of the Secret Teachings radio broadcast, and you are listening to the inquisitive Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange on the Fringe FM.
Have you ever looked skyward and pondered UFOs, aliens, time travel, alternate universes, and parallel dimensions? Want to explore paranormal activities, hauntings, and various cryptoids such as Bigfoot, sea and lake monsters? Greetings, Beyonders. I'm author Casper Parks, and you're listening to Beyond the Strange with host Dave Cruz. Help spread the word by posting links to forums and social media. Available at YouTube, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. This is Beyond the Strange. I am your host, Dave Cruz. We are live on the Fringe FM and YouTube, the Beyond the Strange channel. Thank you all for being here tonight. Tonight we are speaking with Tim Ray, who is the founder of United Intentions Media Network. And it's an amazing network. We have worked with Tim on the Fringe FM in the past, and I believe it's, still to this day. So we definitely know a lot about Tim and his work. It's fascinating. It's amazing. I'm really glad to have him on the show tonight. And once again, I just want to remind everyone you can go to uimedia.org to learn more about Tim Ray. And Tim, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Dave, my pleasure. I already enjoyed everything we talked about and looking forward to, like you said, later getting in deep, because it's going to take that. It's going to take people that stop distracting themselves on the superficial level, start putting actual use of the critical thinking, and start thinking and putting, and not only just thinking with their mind, with all their minds, the heart mind, their gut mind, and really put ourselves to the test, because it's now's the time is where courageous people are going to have to step up than ever before, and everybody has courage in them. They're just going to have to test themselves than they have in the past. And they're going to find themselves in uncomfortable positions, I believe. And when they do, I think that's going to be the sign of what they're doing is the right thing. And so when you're not in an uncomfortable position during this type of plan, this type of rollout, this type of lie, deceit, this worldwide level of a sting operation, as they said in Star Wars, it's a trap. It's a trap, right? That's what we're experiencing right now. And people are waking up to it in groves all around the world, actually. And this is all part of the plan as we go through. Now, is everything set in stone? Can it go south quickly? Yeah, I think it can. But I do believe in human spirit and the sense of that we do have purpose here. And every kid out there who's ready to take their lives or every adult out there right now who feels like there's no reason to live anymore because their whole belief system's been rattled over the last 3 months. That's not true at all. That's another lie. That's another deception. You
Mhm.
need to hold on, get off that fence, get off that bridge, put that gun down right now and wait for this moment. This is, people are dying to come alive today to be in part of this. This is Super Bowl time. This is like people's souls are trying to get into this world right now because this is the time where we're going to make an impact on what's going to happen with humanity. And so this is exciting times. It's scary, but it's exciting times. And the more you could realize that, and to give yourself that opportunity to find whatever that courage is to you. It could be just writing a letter to somebody, or it could be get on the radio like Dave's doing and speaking to people, or it could be protesting out in the streets for get opening up businesses or whatever it may be. So it's time to reevaluate your purpose while you're here, or purposes while you're here, and not to run away or distract or to give up. But it's time to start embracing and move forward, in my opinion.
Totally agree with everything you just said. And, as I was mentioning, it's interesting because I grew up with something similar to what's happening today. Not as much as what's happening out in the world, but what's happening with my my feelings, my emotions, my spiritual being. I had to go through a change in my early 20s in order to continue to move forward. And one of those things, and you maybe you know about this. I remember someone handing me a book called The Celestine Prophecy.
Oh yeah, of course.
And in that book, it was it was a fictional book, but it was it was based on principles,
Universal principle of
yeah,
creating a reality.
that James Redfield had created, and in those principles, I think they were called insights actually, and
Insight. Yeah,
a
right.
lot of those insights had to do a lot of the things that, in my opinion, were synchronicities. So the synchronicities that happened in my life, people need to understand things are not done by coincidence. It's not chance. There really is something to, I think, when you meet someone or when you see someone and it's almost like you're looking at them. You're looking at them, eye to eye contact. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why you need to talk to that person. And then you find maybe it's just to find directions. I don't know, but later on you can find out that it was they're one of your great Uncle Sammy's best friend's cousin or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you start from there and you have a connection. But
Yeah.
to me it's those kind of things that I think because right now I'm still finding those synchronicities. I'm still finding that there's still purpose, and then again, I think people need to understand that this is going to pass. What's happening right now, like you said, there's a cabal out there. There's a shadow government, whatever you want to call them. They're the baddies, basically, that want to put us, into the ground and take everything that we got. So, that's my opinion. I mean, there's a lot more. I mean, we're definitely going to get into a lot more, but
Well, I want to add to what you're saying, though, Dave, is that with the
please.
Celestine prophecy, how you talk about there are no coincidences, the insights, and how you have to kind of be still and you can start connecting. Wow, how this was always here, and this came about because I was creating this. It's kind of like how technology is trying to do the same thing to us, but we don't need it. We don't need technology like Google. You say, listen, I'm thinking about buying a vacuum cleaner. All of a sudden you see an ad for a vacuum cleaner on your phone, right?
Mhm.
That's it's a little different. That's not the coincidence or the peers. That's deliberate. That's your cell phone's listening to what you're saying, and then it's going through the algorithms and then popping up whatever that ad you're looking for. But the point being is our concept of what we think, without even have to saying it, what we think first And then we experience, that's the dot connection that we're talking about. And I think it's subtle. It's very subtle, and you have to be very still. It's very soft, and you have to really make it a purposeful event to connect it and see it and test it and experiment with it. I call it experimenting with intentions. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and when you experiment with it, you start seeing it. And then when you start seeing it on a bigger scale, small scale, when you start seeing it on a bigger scale, then you become like, wow, I really can, I powerfully create these things or co-create, or at least a portion of something I wanted, where all of a sudden it would appear. And I show you, listen to example after example, and everyone in their lives can really, if they realize it, they'd probably realize that's what's really been happening the entire time. But to your point of the strange things that occurs in our life, is everything created from our reality? I believe it is, but I don't believe it's created from our consciousness. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's created from our unconsciousness. I think our unconscious, Dave, is in charge of us. If anybody asks, you know, if you're these entrepreneurs, who do you have a boss? Yeah, everybody has a boss. I don't care if you have your own business or not. Your boss is your subconscious mind. Our
Mm-hmm.
unconscious runs the show. It's 95% of our brain. Yeah, I believe truly it manifests, creates our reality every nanosecond. So you wonder why you have these horrible things in your life, and you want to blame him, her, him, her, or your parents, or you want to blame the New World Order. You want to blame the
Right.
Rockefellers or all these little baby eating reptilians. But it's really not. If you look from a perspective of blaming everyone, it's also our unconscious mind is creating this reality. And who knows what's in those deep, dark secrets of of our subconscious mind. And if that's really true, our unconscious is creating what we experience, then how important is it then to realize consciously, grab the steering wheel to start creating what you want, and not let your subconscious create? Because most of the time our unconscious is fear-based. You know, it's destructive, it's very negative. You know, I mean, how many thoughts a day you have? You know, 100,000 thoughts a day, you know, that most of them, 98, 80 to 90% of them are negative, harmful, right? So it's really like what all these people out there, like the David Wilcox, Teal Swans, they're all getting it right. Because even David Wilcox said that, you know, you got to focus on your inside yourself at this point. You know, if all the aliens and all the stuff he talks about, he comes down to the conclusion that basically this is an inside job going on right now. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
with all these quantum physics, they tell you that, you know, they're looking for the molecule and the lower and the smaller molecular structure and all that, but they find God in science. You know, you can't help not to. And so it's just amazing when people realize that once we start looking at our unconscious mind, which is really the final frontier,
Mm-hmm.
and we start engaging that and start realizing and reprogramming that negative conscious mind into positive, to our bring it to our awareness, to our conscious mind. That's when we can start steering the car and let the subconscious mind in the back seat shut up and not tell us where we go anymore.
Now, when you talk about the unconscious mind, and
Yeah.
you know, to me, it's like everybody's different, right? I mean, you know, everyone's an individual, or, you know, are we all part of this one consciousness, or is it both?
Right. Well, I mean, the best example of I always for me to make sense out of that, because how can you be a collective and be an individual in the collective, right? Well, I just look at the ripple in the ocean. You know, here you got an individual, unique properties to this ripple. It's one ripple, right? It's part of the ocean, same elements, same composition to it, everything, but it has the unique individual property of that ripple.
Mm-hmm.
And so here it's individual and it's unique, but yet it's part of a collective. And is it the full truth, that one ripple? No, the full ocean is probably the full truth, but that one ripple can't see the full ocean. The ripple only sees what it sees from that perspective. So to answer that question, I think it is both. From my perspective, I think the individual and the collective, or the whatever conscious collective, or whatever you want to describe that um, is two experiences. And not only that, if you get into more the spiritual end of it, and I truly believe, like people like Teal Swan believe too,
Mm-hmm.
that our higher self, our soul, our spirit is also creating and manifesting its intentions, which sometimes can be indeliberate or can be just the opposite of what your temporal soul, your temporal self, what you and I, our conscious mind, is creating, and may counter indicate our intentions or what we want. I mean, so you're talking about like a multi-dimensional levels of creating our reality. from an individual, from a soul perspective, from a collective perspective. It's then collective takes in other races, other species. So it's amazing. And then
Are we talking extraterrestrial as well?
Absolutely,
Multidimensional, whatever you want to call them.
multidimensional, sure. Who knows what the specifics of their thought patterns are? Is it a universal principle that the universal law of giving and receiving, the universal law of one, universal law of compensation, universal law of, you go down a whole list of them, right? And ETs, everyone, are they not subjected to that? Are creator gods accept a part of that too, and fall underneath that principle? Let's call it, instead of a law, but a principle. Who knows? But at the same time, it's something to contemplate, because I do believe that ETs do exist here and afar, and I do believe they're all part of this experience that we're going through. The cabal, Luciferian agenda. I think it all ties together. And now, for the first time, we're connecting the pragmatic aspect of all the spiritual teachings and the little hit and misses that all these different religions, as raw as they were over the centuries, as raw as information was and hit or miss. Now we're starting to see our spiritual experiences and beliefs and religions, and now with the cabal and Luciferian agenda, the New World Order, we're seeing it come into our reality, or at least into most of our realities, over the last 3 months that we never saw before. Because you wonder why. How can we still be locked down? All the scientists are coming out now. Hey, listen, COVID is just the same as the seasonal flu. What's going on? I did a show the other day on Rockefeller's papers back in 2010 that he put together for the simulation of this biological pandemic they call it, and everything step in line, right? With everything was rolled out. How amazing, isn't it? For the last 3 months, we were able, our technology is so great that we came out with contact tracing apps all within 3 months. Give me a break. They were made a long time ago.
This is planned.
The masks and the social distancing plans and schools rolling out, every company being mandated, letting the governors make the decisions. So the president doesn't have to be the bad guy.
Well, let me ask you this:
bad cop routine being played right now.
Do you think this is a false flag? Do you think this whole George Floyd thing is a false flag?
Oh, I believe it is. I believe it's. I don't know about the actual event. I think could have been a true event. I think some people are questioning it, but I do think, if let's assume that it is a true event, whatever the crisis may be, the gasoline was laid down on the line for 3 months now. All they need is one little match to light it up. I do believe all the riots are all planned. At least started out that way. They're all part of the George Soros's gang, and the guys they know exactly to come there, and you see all these little white punk kids starting the fires and telling all the other black folks there to go there and riot them, and it's like a big setup. And a lot of people just don't have the understanding to realize they're being set up and down the line, because I believe it's all part of getting the military in the streets.
Well, they're already there. They're there. Yeah.
The National Guard. But once you get the military in the streets, even Trump said, and a lot of people are big Trump supporters. And I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
Same here.
I'm neither. I personally think they're all playing a good cop, bad cop routine. I think Trump's the good cop right now, and the Democrats or the governors or wherever are the bad cops in these other states. But they're all working together. They all play on each other. So half the people go to Trump for support, and the other half go to Democrats for support. But they're all being played by the same agenda, and that's the NWO agenda. That's what the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the gang's been around forever, that we've been following for 30 years, right? And seeing what's been going on. Some people even all their lives been following them and waiting for their moment. And this probably is their moment for the complete surveillance. But that's just all part of us waking up process. Think of how many people woke up in the last 3 months. I can't tell you. I'm talking to folks that I never thought would ever even admit to anything to do with the Bilderbergs or the Trilateral Commission or the Council of Foreign Relations. Wouldn't even acknowledge that exists, even though it's in black and white. You can see it right here. You can go there and see it, Now they are. They're actually listening. They're going down that rabbit hole with us now. So to me, that's very, it's scary. Most people thought the biggest fear they had was getting a flu-like symptom like COVID-19, right? Now that's not the biggest
That's where
fear.
it started.
The biggest fear now is surveillance, is being locked down, getting a vaccine, RFID chip. So yeah, it's scarier, but let everybody go through that initial fear get through it, embrace it, transmute it, and then we can start leveling it, making decisions based on what we want to see rather than what other people want to create, which is not good for us.
We got about 8 minutes left to the next break. And I wanted to bring up something. Did you feel that this is the beginning of, not so much as the end, but everything that we've heard, everything that you just said, Tim, NWO, the Rothschilds, martial law,
Sure.
the takeover of everything. It started with chemtrails. It started, it started with, everything that we've been hearing about.
Yeah.
Did you think that this is what it was going to look like?
I'll tell you, honestly, I've been waiting for this day for 30 years, or this time period. And even with that, being very vigilant and hyper vigilant in many cases, because I started a whole foundation around for the solution for when this day comes, uniting your intentions, and dedicated my life to that, literally. And I still, Dave, it took me a week when it first rolled out, but I still didn't know it was going to come in the guise, in the mask of a pandemic.
Yeah.
If I was Dr. Evil, I'd be like, wow, that's a pretty good plan they had, because they already had it. They already had it worked out with the whole world. I mean, talk about a world operation here.
Yeah.
This is the biggest operation we have ever seen in the history of man and womankind. This has never been done before because these guys have been organized for 250 years. They've been planning this for hundreds of years. Definitely in the last 70 years, they've been rolling out heavy on this. In the last 5 years, they've been putting a lot of in place, So, if you planned your day like they've been planning for the centuries, we would be able to have this worldwide event. But once people realize that this is a worldwide manipulation, a plan, a lie, a deception to move further into more surveillance, I think people will have no choice. Two things. One, they will find their courage. I mean, there'll be many who give up and go along with the plan. Trust me, there'll be too many. It'll be too much for so many people. Their mind will just explode.
It is.
They can't. They got to have authority. Those are the ones you still see in mass driving in the cars by themselves right now. They're the ones who are just so lost in that, getting that oxygen deprivation, that they can't think straight anymore. They don't want to go in that direction, right? And then the other folks will find their courage and they will step up, whether that's inspired action, which is always necessary, or that will be just that they go within themselves and realize, okay, I'm not, with all this lockdown and this prison planet being more open than ever before, I'm still going to keep my integrity. I'm still going to keep my honor. No matter whatever happens, I'm not going to lose that because I'm a spiritual, mighty, powerful being. And the one thing I want to say real quick here, Dave, people have to realize, and I think this is so critical, more so now than ever before. There is no death, okay? You don't die. We transition. There's no death. This is an illusion to some degree, whatever you may want to put that in, but it seems real and it has to be real. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these experiences. But there is no death. And if you truly believe that there's no death, then you could face anything. You could stand up into anything. Those people who are wearing masks right now today, or social distance right now today, are scared to death.
Absolutely.
And I mean that literally. They are scared to death. And I feel for them. And I try to reach them as many as I possibly can. But most of them are so in fear that they can't critically think right now because they just need to have somebody tell them what to do and where to go and how to live. And when they break out of that and they find their courage and they realize they are spiritual, mighty, powerful beings, not because they go to church every Sunday because they're told to, but because they actually connect the dots that they co-create their reality, then and only then will they then be part of the solution moving forward to creating basically what I believe will be heaven on earth.
Absolutely. And you know what? I have to apologize because we do have a special guest right now, Mr. Joe Roop, who's on the phone line. He's been on the phone line for like 15 minutes. I'm sorry, brother. How you doing tonight?
Dude, this is awesome. Listening to Tim rant is like the best thing in the world.
Joe, how you doing,
because
brother?
you know, this guy's like on my level, like has been since the beginning. And you know how I always say there's a lot of talented people out there. There's a lot of scholarly people. There's a lot of educated people, whatever. It doesn't beat consistency. It just doesn't. And Tim's been consistently fighting this fight since the beginning, just like me. And, I'm still curious, though, about what you think about, because, you know, when I first started talking to you about our birthright. Our birthright is we are spiritual, magical, mystical beings, and this is a magical place, and life, death, and resurrection is a truth. You don't die. And so all these people are just trying to keep you from your own personal power, and they do it with death first, and then they just work their way down and break you down so you feel like powerless, and all you can do after that is point your finger. So at this point, we should like realize that we're magical beings too. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, Tim.
Well, absolutely. In fact, but people won't realize they're magical beings, Joe, until they still themselves, stop watching Netflix, turn off their cell phones, and stop taking the pharmaceutical drugs, get off of whatever distractions that are in their lives, and just still themselves and realize that they have that ability to be able to co-create their reality, and that they're spiritually connected to not only a higher power, but connected to like you, to me. And when we really connect with each other and we develop that sense that, you do become very precognitive in your beliefs and understanding your dreams, you start connecting the dots like in the Celestine prophecy. You allow yourself to start seeing the beautiful universe that we truly live in, even in the midst of this chaos right now, Joe. Like my go-to right now, you guys might not have been alive. I'm probably older than you guys, I'm sure. Is I used to watch David Carradine during the 1970s in the TV show called Kung Fu.
Oh, absolutely.
And what I loved about that show the most was, here it is, the cowboys are shooting their guns and they're killing people and all this, and David Carradine decides to sit down in the middle of all of it, fold his legs up, put his hands out, and just close his eyes and just, dream about back in China, right? And then when he gets inspired action, he gets up and starts kicking some ass.
Yeah.
So it's a great indicator of everything, So it's something that's is where we are. And so that spiritual aspect, Joe, that magical part, yes, it's critical, but you have to get yourself out of fear to be able to recognize it, because it's very subtle, and it's a whisper. It's like freedom, and it's like our Constitution. People think our Constitution here to protect us. No, it's not. We are here to protect the Constitution. And the fact that we've given up on it, most of the kids these days, you ask them what the Constitution is, they have no idea. Everyone knows that riding right now, they have no idea what the Constitution is.
It's very sad.
They wouldn't be staying or thinking about what they're doing. And so it's critical that we kind of come back to the basics of the Constitution being a spiritual work of art, really, if you think about it. And I think that's more important now than ever before. So if you don't connect to your spirit, you don't have the ability to close your eyes, or if you don't feel you have the attention span to do that, then read the freaking Constitution. Start there. All right.
That's a good place. That's definitely a good place. And we're going to go ahead and take our next break. And Joe, I really hope you hang on, because I know there's a lot more that we can definitely, learn from you and Tim and everything else. Yeah. This is Beyond the Strange.
No,
go ahead, Billy. Okay. We're going to go to break.
No, I just don't want to take up your airtime. We're good.
No. You hanging on. So
you hang on, Joe.
This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. We're speaking with Tim Ray and special guest Joe Roop. And we are on the Fringe FM. We'll be right back right after this. Don't go away.
This is Joe Root from Lighting the Void, and you're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting Station, The Fringe FM.
Hey, this is Deb, and you're listening to Dave Cruz on Beyond the Strange Radio.
Please listen. Now is not the time to fear. When your immune system is strong, shields up. You have very little worries. If your immune system is compromised, you're susceptible to all viruses. I say shields up and no fear. Try Heart Love from GetTheTea.com. Heart Love has a special ingredient called allicin. It comes from the healing part of the garlic plant. No garlic breath, no garlic leaking out your pores, just pure immune-building ingredients that gets your shields up. Heart Love is a unique blend of herbs that loves to build you up. Google garlic and know the benefits. One Heart Love pill is equal to 20 cloves of garlic. 20 cloves! Shields up. You've heard of our Life Change Cleansing Tea at GetTheTea.com. Now try Heart Love. And by the way, take your blood pressure and watch weekly what happens. So here's how to purchase. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com and build your shields. That's GetTheTea.com. Mention Ray in the coupon code and hit apply and receive free shipping.
Hey, Fringe listeners, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange Radio, asking you to join us live Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fringe FM. Visit BeyondTheStrange.com for links to chat, social media, and schedules of the show. And remember, always stay strange. Asta.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
This is Crow 777, and you are listening to The Fringe FM.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are speaking with United Intentions founder Tim Ray and special guest Joe Root, who's decided to join us on the phone line. And you can call in just a few minutes. 1-800-588-0335. Once again, I want to thank Tim Ray for being on the show. Thank you again, Tim, for coming on Beyond Change. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. My pleasure. If you can hear me.
Yep,
thank you, Dave.
I hear you. I hear you perfectly fine. And Joe, you're there, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
You sound very lucky, Joe. Yeah,
really enthused.
I just spilled like a torch on my leg, so I got citronella all over my face.
Oh,
but I'm good.
That'll wake you up.
So I ran over the water hose, had to spray my foot off. I'm good. Let's do this.
Right on. I just want to say thank you to everyone who are in the chat room on YouTube, in the Discord chat. It's lighting up. Thank you all for joining us tonight. You know, it's good that you're here. It's good that you're here to listen to this conversation, because it's very important to know that what's happening in the physical world right now, it's not so much as important as what's happening in your soul. You know, what's happening in the spirit world. You know, Joe and I have had so many conversations, and I think that's why we really clicked when we first started, you know, the Fringe FM. And, you know, I think, you know, it was one of those synchros, like I was telling Tim, Joe, you know, that it's one of those synchronicities where you and I just clicked, and it was like almost like destiny that we shared the same thoughts and the same emotions about what's happening in this world, and then to meet up with Tim later on, it all comes together.
Doesn't
it? I think it's just amazing. It's great. Once again,
the Celestine moment.
It's fantastic. It's the Celestine moment. And it's interesting, Tim, because I brought that up, and I don't know if Joe knows about the Celestine prophecy or not. I'm pretty sure he does. But the insights are very spiritual. And later on, there was even I think a couple more books written. There was a 10th insight, and I think there's now an 11th insight. And I'm not going to lie to anyone. I don't have any secrets or anything like that. I learned a lot about my spirituality as I was in a recovery 12-step program. I learned a lot of spirituality there. I was a kid.
Like you and
I was
millions
messed
of
up.
others.
I was I did my share, and I learned a lot though. That's the thing, is I was able to come out of it and learn a lot. So I think out of chaos, a lot can be learned, and a lot of good can happen. So I'll turn it back over to you, Tim. What do you think about that?
Sure. Well, absolutely. I think, we learn through pain. We learn through love. A majority of us here in the world learn through pain because we're souls, these beautiful, innocent souls that are connected to source, living in our mother's belly for whatever period of time. And then we come out into this scary world where our parents screw us up. We have these horrible experiences of pain and fear, lack, it goes against everything that we go through, that we want to experience. We have most of us, that's why we have our critical thinking, or at least our first 7 years of our thinking as a child, which is the most influential because we're in theta, is where we're screwed up, and then for the rest of our lives, we're reliving and playing out these programs, these negative programs, these beliefs that we created when we were kids. So here it is true that we are spiritual, perfect beings in every level, but yet on a temporal level, in this human level, we're messed up, some more than others, but you have to remember that beneath that screwed up life we had, whether it's the rehabs, the drugs, or the murder, or wherever we've gone through, it's irrelevant, because the bottom line is we are spiritual beings. And I don't even want to put say a human being on that, just whatever it is, being of something. And we can't lose sight of that, especially now when we're forced to look outside of this world and we're forced to see things that are ugly. And most of us, like a lot of these spiritual gurus that I've known for decades, I'm like, what are you talking about? Look what's going on in your world outside. Stop you sticking your head in the sand, not denying this. You're going to change this reality. No, we gotta do both. We gotta look at where we are, what we're doing, but we also got to engage in our reality and take responsibility for whatever actions we've been doing or not been doing over the years. So I got 3 German shepherds who they see coyotes all the time where I live. In my prepper place where I live, and so we got to take that into account, that we have that ability at any given time to realize we're connected to that, but yet we still got to play in this 3D world. We still got to live by the density rules here, that we just can't think something and it appears right in front of our face, like in a Star Trek holodeck experience. We're not there yet. Can we get there? Who knows? But we're not. So we got to go through those motions and learn through pain. We got to learn through pain, but know that the pain is a stepping stone to love. The pain is a stepping stone, something greater and better. The loss of your job is a stepping stone to doing something you really wanted to do.
Yes.
You losing your family member was because now you bring in a whole other person who's going to be more of a family to you than anybody else could be. You got to always have that mindset to realize that whatever seems the worst right now, being locked down in our homes, there'll be a great opportunity coming down our way, because that's part of how our universe works and how we grow as within ourselves and also without, micro and macro, right?
Yeah, Joe, I want to get your opinion about this, because
I
want to bring it to Joe right now, because Joe and I have, like I said, we've had a lot of deep conversations, and we've talked about God, we've talked about Satan, Lucifer, we've talked about angels and trumpets.
Topic. Yeah.
Oh man, it's great, But one of the things that Joe told me a long time ago, and this was before I thought The Matrix was just a movie, No, serious. I know, right? I know.
The
It took
documentary.
it took Joe for him to tell me, remind me again. You really believe that's air you breathe in? And when he told me that, that it's like that's from the Matrix. I know that, but
Molecules, man, molecules. It's made up of geometry and programs.
It's like, but but then we got really deep in there. More deep in this conversation, and I just want to know who is the grand orchestrator of this whole thing. Why is all this stuff happening? What is the purpose of this? And what better person to bring it to light than Joe Roop?
Oh yeah, yeah. Joe's going to tell you who God is. That's great. Thanks. No. No, but I mean,
Joe,
like, to answer your question on that, it's the collective, man. It's all of us.
Okay.
We don't fight a war amongst ourselves. We fight a war against principalities and powers, things in the metaphysical realm that we can't see. You wonder why your loved ones hurt you the most sometimes. Think about it. Because those boogers are getting in their head too. But we blame the person, but we don't see what's underneath.
Joe, Danny Brinkley, right? You heard of him. He had that near-death experience.
Yeah. Saved by the Light.
Yeah, Saved by the Light. Yeah, and so we befriended each other over the years, and he's had a couple of near-death experiences. He hit by lightning twice, literally, and then of course had a heart attack, near-death experience, and a couple of other ones. I think he had 4 altogether. But he said on his 3rd near-death experience, because when he died, he went through. He died. He had this panoramic view. He saw all the things that he did bad. He felt it from that person's perspective, and they go through this kind of defending your life experience with Albert Brooks, but not as perhaps as funny as that. and he said his 3rd time around, because he would always remember, at one point he would be in this place where he just felt this unbelievable love, this unconditional love that was like you hear when people talk about Jesus, when people talk about whatever their belief, they're just safe and they don't want to go back to earth. It's like, why would I want to leave this type of like in the womb love, and why would I leave this to go back to that hell, right? And he said he never could define what that energy was. He didn't know. I mean, no one came out and said it was Jesus. No one said it was so and so. He had no idea. He just assumed it was this energy thing that was just incredible, right? This incredible experience. But he said his third time around, he had an awakening, and he said that when he was in the arms again of this person, and he looked up, and it was him. It was him. He said it was my higher self. It was me. I can't explain what it was. It was me. Who else could love you unconditional like that other than you, right? And that, to his point,
That's
what
right.
he was saying. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's still a collective or that's a higher projection of that. But that was one person's experience in reference to a higher power, which I always thought was fascinating, especially knowing that we are.
Well, Robert Monroe talks about that too, though.
Say it again.
Robert Monroe. There's people that aren't even spiritual that have validated those things out of the body travelers that would run into helper beings, that would help them in bad situations, only to find out later it was really them all along helping themselves. And so a lot of times in our lives, when we're being spiritually pulled to something, we think everything's going to hell in a handbasket. But on a higher level, our higher selves are really trying to push us along. They're actually protecting you. You don't even know it. Like you were talking about earlier, Tim, about family. Like I grew up in a rough ass family. I don't even want to go into the details of it. But you start realizing like, well, what is family? Like, what is that? And then when you meet somebody, or like my grandmother, I used to go over to her house and I would, feel better. I felt that unconditional love. So I understood what that idea of family was, but it doesn't mean, like we define what this is. We all want to know what this higher thing and what love is, but I think we're the ones defining it for the most part.
Hey, if our unconscious mind runs 95% of our reality, creates our reality, who knows who's in charge, right? I mean, especially if you and I and Dave are talking on a 5% level here. I mean, seriously, what the hell do we know? But it's great to contemplate.
Well, I'm on like 90%. Y'all just need to get up to my level. That's all.
I'm at 1%. I'm serious.
4%.
I'm glad both of you are here because I just, I mean, I know a little bit more now.
I love you.
I know a little bit more now because, like I said, Joe and I have those deep conversations, and I've been listening to a lot more on the metaphysical, on spirituality, more spiritual principles, but in relations to magic too as well. I'm not saying I know anything about magic because I don't, but I know.
But do
I know.
You feel like you're my family though, Dave?
Oh hell yeah, dude! You're my brother. And I'll say one thing.
Did I not take you through 2 things you were totally afraid of though? Remember?
Remind me.
When we went to the mountains, and Dave looks at me and he goes, "We're going to the Eureka Springs conference, right?"
You love this, Tim.
And he's like, "Dude, I just saw a sign that said this highway is adopted by the KKK." And I'm like, "Yeah, so what?" Like, I ain't afraid of these people, And Dave, he starts to freak out. He starts shaking a little bit, and he's like, "Man, that's just great. The last thing we need, we're gonna get pulled over by some podunk cop out here in the middle of nowhere." And I was like, "Dave, you just cursed us." And he's like, No, I didn't. We just keep going. Sure enough, this cop just comes out of nowhere, right? Pulls us over, brings a state trooper out. He's all mad at me because I got bald tires, talking about arresting me and stuff. I forgot my driver's license was suspended. I didn't take care of that court date, so I took care of that. I took care of that later, by the way. And then when we go to through all that, Dave realized that all these people were just people, right? They treated him better than they treated me.
They did.
Right? So Dave was worried because he was Hispanic,
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, I am Hispanic.
Yeah, and like I don't. When the authority figures get around me, like there's just this vibe. If you got a badge or something or a uniform, there's just this vibe. They don't like me and I don't like them because they're yes men.
Well, that's an energy we put out, don't you think, Joe? I mean, don't you think that's the energy starts with us? Because if you change that energy next time you get pulled over by a cop, you have a different perspective. You watch. I can't help it. You watch. Have a different experience.
Yeah. I experienced that too. Like I've learned a lot, but also like when we went to the room, Dave goes and buys some Coronas, which it was hot. I want beer too, but I had my rituals I had to do. So Dave got to witness a ritual. I think for the first time in his life. Was that first time you witnessed it?
Yeah, that's the first time.
It's kind of hard, like not to do.
It reminded me of prayer.
Not to do your spiritual work.
It reminded me of prayer. It reminded me of meditation. It reminds me of all that. I didn't see anything bad about it. As a matter of fact, I was really comfortable around that. And I think you knew that.
Yeah. And I mean, I would have done it somewhere else, but we're in a hotel room. Like, where was I going to go? So could have went outside, I guess. But Dave and had the time of his life in a couple of situations about things he was really afraid of. He faced 2 big fears. Didn't realize it till later.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think what I'm trying to say is like they're programming us to be afraid of things that we don't need to be afraid of.
Well, your government. I mean, you said the word government, IRS. People just get like this. Oh my God, experiencing it. And if you really realize how the IRS works, and you have somebody who challenge them, they're just all bark, and when they back down once because they don't know. Half the people at IRS don't even know what the hell they're doing, if you think about it. But you're right. I mean, we're actually starting, and this is what I like that you're kind of alluding to, Joe, was kind of beyond our reality, right? We're starting a new show called Frequency Wars. It's the final, Frequency Wars is called the final battle, right? And we're basically talking about to people all around who are discussing this, the David Wilcox and David Ikes and everybody who are known from day one. There's something going on beyond our 5 senses. We have limited bandwidths. We hear, see, touch, and we think that's our reality. And that's such a small perspective of truly the overall reality, because we're all energy, as Joe knows. We're part of the matrix. But like just I say, people like they have a hard time understanding that there's something more going beyond our 5 senses. And I'm like, well, think about a dog who hears something in the distance, and you can hear it, but they hear it. So does that make it that's not reality? That sound that you can't hear is not reality? No, of course it's reality, but it's a broader level of reality. And if your bandwidth of hearing was like the dogs, you would have heard that sound. So think about that when it's bringing the paranormal, or you bring in the extraterrestrials, you bring in these things that are beyond our five senses, and just because we don't yet have a scientific method for beyond our five senses doesn't mean it's not occurring. It doesn't mean it influences our reality or influences our five senses on some degree. Because now you bring in thought, you bring in channeling, you bring in all these other aspects that science hasn't caught up to, at least not with the scientific method. But it's very limited. People think, well, these scientists in quantum physics and people out there are very limited. Like, well, if you can't prove it and repeat it like in the scientific method, then there's no sense of focusing on it. What kind of bunch of crap is that? That is so limited from a limited by perspective of reality. There's the party's outside of our five senses, people. And, and the sooner we get to that, and sooner we realize that there is frequency wars going on. People, good energies and bad energies, or what we would consider unhealthy energies, are influencing our decisions that we make every day. And the sooner we come to that understanding, that maybe we would get a bigger picture and a better picture of how we are truly spiritual beings, and claim our power back, so we don't have to be influenced by so many others outside of our own self, And I think that awakening is coming, and coming sooner than we think.
Absolutely. And gentlemen, I just want to bring up that we do have a caller on the line, 212. You are on with Tim Ray, Joe Roop, and Dave Cruz on Beyond Strange.
Hi, boys. This is Daryl in New York.
Hey, Daryl. How are you doing?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a little confused and a little disturbed. I want to vent, and I want to ask a philosophical kind of a conspiracy theory related question.
Sure.
Open for discussion. But did we just spend like a month in solitary confinement just so we could go out and riot and protest just to screw it up again? Like, what is going on? Like, we did the exact opposite of what we've been holed up for, and I just don't understand. What is this a conspiracy? Where does consciousness come in? It's like unconsciousness came in. I don't know. What is going on with that?
It's a good question. I'll take a stab at it. Is it Daryl? Right? Yes. Yes. It's been. I believe it's been planned, and I think right now it's more of a battle of the minds than it is anything else. Anytime you hold a belief in something, people can learn to control it, because once they know your belief, they know what you're willing and not willing to do. And so if they can help create your belief, then if they help create that belief, then they already know the parameters of what they do to get away with it, right? So think about that. The lockdown first started out with a quarantine, and never in history of mankind have you heard ever in womankind you ever quarantine a healthy person. Never been done before. No scientific effects whatsoever about it. And you never have a healthy person wear a mask, unless they're operating, if they're worried about bacteria or something like that, but not for a virus. The viruses go right through every mask for the most part. You have to be locked down in the CDC with suits on and everything if you worry about a virus. So here it is. People are quarantined, never done before, to this level around the world, not just like in a couple of cities, all right? Worldwide quarantine of healthy people. And then all of a sudden, the gasoline was laid down. I mean, why weren't the people rioting when business owners couldn't go and start their own business? I mean, got it. That's not unconstitutional. That's when you want to be rioting and breaking windows, when you can't get into your own business. Or how about being arrested for not being 6 feet apart from somebody? What? This is insane. There's no constitutional law. There's no law ever passed for that either. Not even, didn't go through the congressional process. Or you go to jail for not wearing a mask, get arrested down by police officers, beaten up and put in jail. This is insane. This is insanity. But we accept that because this is a belief that's been built in, a belief that's built in for compliance. You need to comply, like the Borg. You need to comply or you'll be arrested. The fear has driven everybody to the point where they'll go right along with that. And so the setup was there. The gasoline was laid down on the line, and all of a sudden they just needed a match. It was Floyd was the match, and all of a sudden at that point, George Soros's gang his Antifa, and then the Black Lives Matters. They all moved in. They're all supported by George Soros and his son's finances, and a whole bunch of other folks who are far crazy, nutty people who go off everywhere and outside of logical thinking. Facebook, censorship with YouTube. George Soros' influence is on there as well, and a bunch of other people, far left people who are on the board of directors who decides what will be censored or not, which is incredible. All work in conjunction with anything going on, so people couldn't hear why you're so confused, because you were not able to hear what was going on over the last 3 months, because a lot of it was being censored. At least the majority of it was. Mainstream media, lock and step in line with the same process. How many deaths were COVID? You got to wear a mask. Make sure you're social distancing.
A lot of inflated numbers, by the way.
All inflated numbers. You repeat enough of the times, you will believe it. It takes 90 days to create a new neural pathway. And that's exactly what they took us to. Past 90 days, people now are wearing masks, and they don't even know why they're wearing masks. They don't know why. I mean, a lot of them don't. They just do it because it's a habit now. It's a habit now. So here all it is.
It's a binding.
We're giving our power over to this authority, this unknown authority, giving our power over to them, and we don't claim it back. And so the confusion is high. And here it is, the rioting is now going to be dying down, right? But all it will take, honestly, is a mass shooting, something going on, a government agency happening, or they come up with COVID-20, whatever the next phase will be. Eventually, their plan is to have martial law. They got to be able to bring the military, not the National Guard, the military into the streets, where then they can start rolling out their real, truly surveillance programs. The contact tracing now has already grown from monitoring people with COVID now to people who are rioting. They're using contact tracing to find rioters. When's the next time? What's next? When they use contact tracing to fire freedom-loving people who are not agreeing to whatever communist agenda going on right now? This is a reality we got to live up to. We got to be conscious of. We got to move into. We got to address. We got to say no. We got to go to our neighbor, knock on the door, because you can't organize our groups online anymore, right? Thank you, Facebook. You got to knock on the door and say, hey, I think as a business owner, you a business owner, let's go down to the city, local and vocal, go down to the city and say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. This is not going to happen. And then you start seeing movement. I mean, in Georgia alone, they stopped it. You know what? Georgia was the first state to open up for the COVID. Did you all know that?
I didn't know that.
Georgia was the first state to open up, and the reason why was there was about to be 30,000 cars and people driving down to the state capital of Georgia in Atlanta, and they were telling the governor, "We're coming down May 2nd unless you open up." And so he got scared and he opened up. You know, not all the way. Of course, not all the restaurants could make money yet, but nevertheless, there was a mandate, and when there's a mandate, people listen. Just like right now, they're trying to create a mandate with rioting, so there will be more military operations. And the last thing you want is military in the streets, because that's when you have tribunal laws, and you don't have the court system of your peers anymore. Whatever the military says happens.
Tim's talking about the entire ripple effect.
Oh, I know.
The tribunal laws are the worst things you want. You don't want that in place there.
It's true.
You got to protest in peace.
It is. Yeah.
You got to protest in that level of understanding. And everyone has to be protesting at this point. You got to get up, because nothing's going to get better unless there's a mandate, bottom line.
That's awesome. And Daryl, thanks for calling in. We have to go to a break, so we really appreciate you calling in, and we'll catch you on the next side. Take care, Daryl.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good night. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no kidding.
Tim,
oh, man, I'm telling you.
Margaritas again.
We're gonna...
Joe doesn't want to protest. He wants a mark.
I think he does. I think I want one too. Anyways, we're having an amazing conversation tonight with Tim Ray, Joe Roop. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. We still got some time left, so stick around. Right back right after this. Don't go away.
KTOK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Hey, this is Deb, and you're listening to Dave Cruz on Beyond the Strange Radio.
This is Reverend John M. Polk from johnpolkmedia.com, and you are listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Yohoy there, it's Gigi from Shift Happens, and you're shaking some conversational tail feather to the Fringe FM.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to, so I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 945-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. That's 945-882-7221. Or go to the website, angioprim.com.
Hi, Jeremy Scott here from Into the Paranormal, and I'm back live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fringe FM.
All right, we're back, everyone. This is Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz. We are live on the Fringe FM. You can go to thefringe.fm. Check out the new website, by the way. It's awesome. Tonight we're speaking with United Intentions founder Tim Ray and the founder of the Fringe FM, Joe Roop. And I just want to say thanks again to both of these gentlemen for an amazing conversation. And yeah, thanks guys for being on the show.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure. I really enjoy it. And Dave, consciousness, people just we do conscious media. They're thinking, well, you got to be this loving, unconditional. No, to me, consciousness is awareness. And people who are caught into this denial-based positive thinking are doing more harm to themselves than anyone, because if you only think you're supposed to only think positive thoughts all the time, and you're denying the reality of whatever's happening in your moment, the chemtrails, the cabal, whatever's happening, whatever, and I can only think positive. What are those intentions being driven with to think positive all the time? It's fear. Fear is driving those intentions to think positive. And if fear is driving those intentions, then you're not in positivity or love, you're in fear. And what's going to manifest around that positive, denial-based positive intention will be a fear experience. It's that simple.
I think that's what Joe used to tell me all the
So
time.
you
Was
don't face the negative things in your life.
Yeah, there's got to be a positive with a negative. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you got to embrace it.
That's
Yeah, I
right,
mean,
because if
you
you
gotta
focus on
embrace
the
fear.
positive all the time, you don't integrate the shadow, then what's
There
going to
you go.
happen is you're going to be in this place where you'll never face down the things that hurt you the most, because you don't have to. You feel like you don't have to, and eventually, what that's going to do is pigeonhole you in a corner somewhere, where you're in your little positive room with nothing there but you and a cell full of positive light, and then you're going to get in your head, and then you're going to go crazy, right? And then the shadow's going to come right back out. You can't run from it.
No. And Joe, if you want to know what you're fearing, you don't want to deal with, focus whatever it is that you don't want to deal with right now in your life. What is it you're running away from? What does you not want to look at? What scares you? Look at write that down and then go into it. Go towards it. Whatever you're uncomfortable, go towards it, go into it, go forward, face it. Once you face it, what they call it transmutation. You actually can transmute that energy. It's alchemy work. Once you embrace the fear, you allow it, you realize it's there, it's around you, and all of a sudden it starts creating a little bit of distance because you're allowing it. You're not running away from it, right? You're not always keeping it as that unknown. And it's there. And all of a sudden you're looking at it, and all of a sudden you're feeling it. You're painful, you're feeling it. But then it's moving away. It's moving away, and it's giving you more distance. And before you know it, it's way over there. And now you're transmuting that process. You have now changed that energy around where it's not a fear anymore. It's a known variable in your life. You looked at it, and now you're able to go on to the next uncomfortable fear. But you'll be growing on a conscious level like never before. And your fear of death, your fear of the government coming into your home, the police officer pulling you over, the rioters burning down your apartment, whatever that fear goes away because you now finally faced it. You embraced it and you transmuted it, and you're going on to the next challenge in your life. And when you can switch your mindset around on that consciously, you will get your unconscious mindset working for that as well and stop sabotaging yourself and move forward on that. The more you transmute those fears, critical self-work and shadow work, Joe, that you were just referring to.
Yeah, like imagine like if you were a little kid and you walked into a room with a family that was supposed to love you, right? But the family's whispering all around you. You don't know what they're saying. And the next thing you know, they're telling you the water's going to disappear. Or the next thing you know, they whisper and whisper, but then they come out and they say, oh, well, Sally hates your guts, your sister, or whatever. This is what they're doing to us. There's no transparency. To Daryl's question, there's mass confusion. And then once they get you all crazy, then they work on one of the Hermetic principles, which is polarity. Start a race war, start something else, and it just causes more chaos, confusion. And the spirit doesn't like confusion. It don't like secrets. It don't like confusion. It likes freedom. It likes to grow.
Yeah, and transparency is needed for that.
They're just, and this is all this is binding to cause chaos. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, they got to create chaos so they can bring in the new world order out of chaos, right? But the order that they're bringing in is not order that we would want. It's not based on freedom. It's not based on transparency. It's not based on free will. It's just the opposite. It's suppression, surveillance, fascism. It's control over others.
Yeah.
That new world order is what we don't want, but that's what's coming unless we step up into our own power by embracing our fears and moving forward within ourselves, and also taking inspired action that affects our three-dimensional world that we live in my opinion.
And gentlemen, I just want to
earlier
we have another caller that just called in, 540. You are on the air with Tim Ray and Joe Rupe on Beyond the Strange.
I know who that is.
Oh, sorry about that. That's my bad.
That's you.
Yes, sir.
You there?
Yes.
Okay. You wanted me to call in about that dream I had. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. But this was back in 1993 when I had this dream. And it was it starts out where it's raining, and I'm in a line of people, and we're walking up the side of a hill. And you know how when it rains and you're walking up a path, it gets muddy, and it sort of turns into a tiny little creek? The water's rushing down to the center of the path.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all walking up this path, and everybody's got dirty, dingy clothes. They have dirty hair, we're walking up, and you get up to the first landing of the hill. I turned to the left, and there was a plaque like it would be at a battlefield park to explain what happened there. There was a woman standing on my left. She was in a business suit. It was gray. She had, kind of a gray wool business suit, high heels. She had light brown hair. And she was just sort of standing there, and I was looking at the plaque, and I turned again to the left, and she was walking down the side of the hill through the, right, there's no path, just straight through the bushes and the briars and everything. All right, the dream goes black. It comes back again, and I'm in a community, and I'm like on the end house or the end section of the community, off by myself a little bit. And I was looking around, and in the community, there was where, it wasn't like anybody owned any one part of it, but everybody had a house. And if you had a special skill, like you're an electrician or a plumber type of thing, you would do the plumbing and electric for the community. Okay. And let's say certain people grew the gardens and canned food and stuff, and that was distributed for everybody. And that's kind of how it was. And, I'm in this dream, and I'm very comfortable in the dream. And I was trying to figure out what I was doing there. And suddenly this guy shows up with a full-size Bronco, two-tone blue. And I'm in the passenger seat. It's like everything's, already been done for you. You don't have to worry about anything. Now, what came up was going down to town. And this was up like in a mountainous areas, lots of poplar trees, mountainous area, but you could get downtown, but you had to travel a little ways. And you could only go downtown on Thursdays because of the rioting and the looting. And it was very dangerous to go out other than that. And when you did, it was like everybody went at once together. So we're in a large group, so you're safe that way. No one went alone. But that was part of the dream. And at the end of it, I was trying to, because everybody had a purpose, in the community, everybody contributed to something. And if you didn't contribute, if you're just sort of hanging out, you weren't allowed to stay. You had to work with the community to be in it. And I asked what I was doing in this community, because I wasn't doing anything. I had this nice little house and off by myself. And Dave will understand this when I say this. But what I did in the community was, I guess, maybe more spiritual work, but I actually would talk to the dead and help them cross over, start the process of crossing over. But unfortunately, the amount that I was talking to the dead to help them cross over was like overwhelming. There was like lines and lines of the dead to talk to.
Amazing.
To help them understand what happened to them. And because it was, I think maybe they all got killed too quickly.
And by the way,
back in 1993.
Yeah, I didn't mention this at the beginning. This is Mike in Virginia, and Mike is a good friend of the show, and we talk quite a bit off the air. He's a medium in his own right.
Remember my dreams
empath.
like that.
And this was 94. You say, Mike?
No, that was back in 1993.
Oh, 93.
1994. How much more time you got?
Well, we got a little bit of time, but we want to keep moving on. So.
Okay. Well,
no, that's fascinating. And one thing I thought was interesting what he said in the dream was, and I think this is going to be our future. I'm not a medium or psychic, but is this a concept of intentional communities? Mm-hmm. I think as we grow, like Joe has been just off air, we talk about, his new family. He wants to create sometimes our families are so toxic that our blood family is so toxic, it's hard to get around. And I see this movement, even myself, looking to building intentional communities, and they could be complete strangers or people that you did not grow up with. You're more comfortable living with them and creating a communal. And I'm not talking about the 1970s communistic communals. I'm talking about
it's not a cult. I don't want people to think it's a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's an intentional community where everyone has whatever purpose there, and people could be working. It's not like you're doing all the same thing. It's just that everyone has certain responsibilities in this community, but everyone is you're around like-minded, energetic beings, and that to me is critical.
Like, why can't we all go to Fiji and just do that? We just need to find an island where we can just, we don't have to go like all.
Joe, we don't have to go. We can do it right there in Arkansas. We could do it right where we are right now. We could create these intentional communities. We don't have to go anywhere.
Mike, thanks for calling in.
First and foremost, I don't want people blaming their families for who they are, because eventually we got to grow up, right? but at least recognize that a lot of our problems come from our upbringings, that kind of thing.
Hey, Mike, thanks for calling in.
Family.
We got another caller, so we'll talk soon.
Okay,
thanks, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, buddy. 978, you're on with Tim Ray and Joe Roop and Dave Cruz on Beyond the Strange.
Hey, Dave, Joe, and Tim. It's the Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Night Stalker.
What's up,
I
brother?
love that TV show with Gavin. What a great show that was back in the day.
Yeah, this is more like stalking Wonder Bread, though.
He's stalking
Not
food.
stalker.
No bread.
Cans and
Too late. Yeah, that's too late.
Cans and bottles. What's up, brother?
All the bulk, they call it. What's happening? I got a quick synchronicity ritual for you guys. Because Tim mentioned the reptilian thing and like the I kind of Joe knows this. I kind of like try to kind of surf the zeitgeist and try to pick out weird patterns that I see. So the other day during the Crew Dragon mission the other day, the NASA SpaceX mission, the name of the mission is the Crew Dragon, which is reptilian, but also synchronistically the day before the launch, an alligator wandered onto the launch pad and had to be removed. And then during the launch, like during the mission, they found a quote dinosaur stowaway on board because I guess like one of the astronauts kid put his like toy stuffed animal in his bag or whatever, which like honestly is a little fishy because it costs like millions of dollars to bring up like 1 ounce of anything into space. So the idea that you can just get something in your pocket doesn't really seem realistic to me. But that's like 3 reptilian things right there. So the idea that these like kind of space events or any kind of zeitgeist thing is tied to this. And also, so the first mission was scrapped and is postponed to that Saturday at 3:22 Eastern time, which is the Skull and Bones number. So it reeks of ritual, if not just a synchronicity to me.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, yeah, that sounds fascinating.
We need a jingle right now. The Night Stalker strikes again.
I'm gonna work on that.
Well, I want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about not so much the reptilians, but the real bigger picture going on behind the scenes that we're just getting a surface viewpoint. The vaccines, RFID chipping, monitoring humans here, the depopulation program, Agenda 21, Agenda 30.
Yeah.
But really, let's think about who's really in charge, and it's not the Donald Trumps, hate to tell everybody, and it's not even perhaps the Rothschilds, right, or the Rockefellers, it's not even probably the human level. We have and known, if you talk to the Billy Carsons and all the other folks out there, the David Wilcox and the rest of them, the Corey Goods, whoever else, there's been a industrialization of our solar system been going on, and we have technology. Certain humans have technology that's 300 years more advanced than what we see today. I mean, we can't even comprehend that. It's like saying if you had $1 trillion, you really can't comprehend that. So if there's a certain group of humans who have access to this 300 years advanced technology from some ET or ETs, whatever may be out there, that are really pulling the shots here, who are doing the chemtrails, putting nano-size, things in there to monitor people's present mindset. If they could be still in the present moment, or if they're nanobots, or they could create the AI movement that's going forward, and the Musks who are all playing along with the program, the space program. If these guys are really in charge with the underground tunnels and all these systems, then how do we really feel like we're going to make change on this level? As we do go out and we do protest, and we do go perhaps change our representatives within the system we have here, and I do believe that's something that we still need to do. But unless we really start changing people who have access to understanding that there are people or entities in charge with 300 years more technology, and we're going to have to bring transparency into the FBI, into the CIA, start eliminating these NSA, these covert operations of governments that are being funded with billions of dollars of the taxpayers. We're going to have to dismantle all of that and create a transparency never seen before. That to me is I see the ultimate goal out of this lockdown, out of this awakening, out of this awareness is that we're not just going to change a couple of representatives or change out a president, you know, who are at 7 levels underneath of real authority in this world. We're going to change the whole plan. I envision my creative future that I want to manifest. We're going to co-opt this whole plan that they've been rolling out over the decades now, the secret space program, the industrialization of our solar system, the truth about what's going on within many different levels and species of the extraterrestrial influences that we've had. The cabal program of taking these people out of authority figures of hurting people and human beings and bringing empathy and compassion back into humanity of the people in these power broker roles. We're going to change that level out. That's the future that I see. I do see us creating a federation and moving forward on that level. And that's why I think people should be hopeful during these times of
you're talking about the
suppression
Jedi
and repression.
Yeah, baby.
Sorry.
Yeah, but like we gotta learn to start treating each other right first, because like here's the thing: how are we going to build this thing and face all these like big powerful people that are always doing this stuff to us that we, you know, like you were talking about earlier, when we can't stop doing this to each other?
Uniting our intentions, Joe.
That's right.
And that's how we're going to do it.
Because
we do it with compassion and love. We can do it. It's raising the frequency, and there's science behind that. That's not just, you know, metaphysical woo-woo stuff. There's real science, quantum science behind raising frequency, raising energy. And you talk to people like Dr. Bruce Lipton, which I have a few times. Let me tell you something. This guy's right on line with the interactions of our intentions and our interactions of energies, and how negative lower energies interact, and they create a separate energy flow. And there's reality to all that, and it's all happening simultaneously with all these other events in the 3-dimensional world that we live in.
How many people contact you, Tim, that are like hurting? Not only are they hurting, they're not just hurting, but they're having to live lives that don't even, because I know they're contacting you because they talk to me too. They're having to live lives that don't even correspond with who they are to try to survive in this world or around the toxic energies that they're around. They're not even themselves, and then they feel guilty about who they are, right? Because they're not being themselves. And then it don't take nothing for a bad elemental to come out and say, look at what you're doing. And then it just perpetuates worse and worse, you know? When all you got to do is love somebody, it's really simple. Love somebody the way you want to be loved. That's it.
It's always been simple.
Well, I mean, it's simple to say, not so simple to do, especially when we get distracted by all these outside events.
Yeah, but it should be.
And
that's the
trust
problem.
me, I mean, how simple is to love the person wearing a mask? I find myself being challenged, you know. Boy, you know, you sure like to just rip that mask off that person. Why are you wearing a mask? You know, why are you in that fear? And it's hard to lose compassion, because at one point, we were there. We believed what they believed, you know, and we didn't know about what was going on at that level, but now we do. So you're right. That compassion needs to come in handy right then and there in those moments, especially now, in those moments when we know really the overall plan and what's being rolled out like clockwork, like step and repeat as they're going down. But now compassion is critical. But at the same time, there has to be a plan.
It's amazing.
You know, we're the unorganized truth with all within the organized lie right now, you know? And so the organized lie is a small percentage, and the unorganized truth is a much larger percentage. But the difference between that is the organization aspect of it. We got to get planned. We got to start planning. We got to get united. We got to start making a positive intention of uniting our intention of what reality we want to experience. That reality that I just said earlier, is that something, the reality and you or your listeners would like to experience? Would you like to be able to not worry about depopulating the world, but yet exploring our solar systems, exploring our galaxy? Would you rather that be your reality than worrying if you have enough people on planet Earth that they're going to have to eliminate because there's too many people eating the resources up? No, I mean, we could create whatever reality we want, and we should be exploring. We are already exploring space, guys. The secret space program is true and real. It's out there. It's happening as we speak. We're being given just false information, this BS dialogue about it, and propaganda that this handful of humans are having these experiences in these control positions, and they're not being transparent to let every other 7.5 billion people, if that's even accurate, to have this opportunity to explore space, to explore the whole new world, whatever the new worlds may be. And to me, that's the biggest travesty here. And I'm hoping throughout this process, we'll wake up and realize this, how this transparency needs to be the number one priority in every potential elected position, if we even have a republic by the end of this occurs.
All right, guys, we've got a couple of minutes left. Night Soccer, thanks for calling in, brother. Really appreciate you calling in. And final thought, Joe, I'll give you a minute, and then Tim a minute, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, I mean, like, United Intentions is what it's all about. That's why Tim named his network that. And I partnered with Tim, you know. I'm not like this big business guy that doesn't want to partner with other networks. Like, this guy's trying to do what I'm trying to do, and I love him for it. And all of this stuff is good, great, and wonderful, but we're all human too. So try to learn how to love and forgive each other and get your power back. That's all. Freedom is your power. Your choice is your power, and love. And then realize you're a magical being, that you're creating your reality 24/7, and how big and powerful that can be if we do it together.
I love it. Tim,
Joe.
final thought,
Yeah,
and
Joe,
please let the audience know more about you and where they can find out more about you.
absolutely. Real quick, guys, check out UIMediaNetwork.org, UIMediaNetwork.org. Check out all our best shows that we've had with some really influential people who are making a difference on this planet. But I just want to say, Joe, I love you, Joe, too. And Dave, I love you as well. Just great energy. I'm so glad you guys are speaking the truth. Not many people are even know who can even do that. There's a lot of people are sold out, blackmailed, not even allowed to even share the truth, or not willing to. But advice I just say for everyone right now is know that this is a divine plan. No matter how desperate, how scary, how fearful, all what's coming, not only right now, presently, but what may be coming down the road, it's all going to be okay, because we're all going to be waking up. You just have to find your own courage. Go within yourself, find that courage, whatever that may look like, whatever inspired action needs to follow it. Follow it. Don't run away from it anymore. Stop getting self-distracted. Be still. Find the courage. Follow it. It's divine planning right now. Now's your time to shine. Everyone's time is to shine now. This is a Super Bowl, right? This is the big game. Here it is. It's playtime. So let's get out there and let's enjoy this as well. It's not all to be so serious. We can enjoy and have fun as we manifest and create the reality that we truly want to live in. So thank you guys. Hey guys, Joe, Dave, thank you guys for a great show and a great time. I appreciate you all. And everyone, all is okay and all will be well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tim. And Joe, thank you very much for joining us tonight and for allowing us to be on the Fringe FM. And it's just been fantastic. So thank you very much.
You guys are welcome.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night. And everyone that's listening, thank you for liking and sharing. Please continue to do so. And please continue to listen to the Fringe FM and Tim Ray's United Intentions programming. And, of course, Beyond the Strange. Thank you all, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you all. We love you. Take care. Stay safe, but always stay strange. Always. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.